there's a couple words that came up for me. You said a laboratory. That again, a word that really resonates with me for a lot of reasons. I come from the fitness industry. That's my background. I don't know. Again, I won't bore you with my story, but I've been doing that for 27 years, right? I've done all kinds of stupid shit, and I've learned all kinds of really good stuff. Right. And it's all been from other people that have basically created a laboratory that have been somewhat, and these are the two words that came up for somewhat. It's a little bit of pioneering you guys are doing. The other thing is the exploration piece. Right. And you think about, people that got on ships and traveled across the ocean and didn't know where the other side was or whatever, and they just did it and they figured it out as they went, and a lot of good stuff happened and a lot of bad stuff happened, and they came back with some stories that they wanted to tell and probably a lot of stories they didn't want to tell. I guess my point of this is in doing that, and you mentioned like the guys that are going out and teaching on the weekends and trying to kind of package it so it's kind of in a box, and you can re-deliver it the same way every single time or whatever, and expect that that's going to work. And 2 years later, 3 years later, 10 years later, you're doing the same thing. It's very limiting. And so with that comes a couple of things. So there's a couple of things here. One, if you've grown up in that world where that's what's been delivered to you for so long and you've been told that's the answer, and that answer has worked in your environment, whatever that is. Now you mentioned, this is where I'm getting, like the dark room with the furniture and the nods and the hallway and the doorway, all that kind of stuff. If at some point you run into a situation where, and that becomes your truth, right? Because that is what you do, and you are very good at that thing. But at some point, somebody comes along like Ben or Mikey, and they go ahead and they show you real fast that your truth isn't the truth. Like, here's the reality of what you're doing, and here's why, and I'm going to show you that it doesn't work when we turn the lights off, kind of thing. I just think about the person that's learning that has just been taught this their entire life, coming up as a young guy, whatever. Maybe they're that middle guy like you were talking to that's been, the E8 black belt, guy, who then all of a sudden is introduced to something where his truth is just destroyed. I can imagine for that person how terrifying that must feel. Like, holy shit, everything that I believed to be true for so long now just got turned on its head. And I'm at a crossroads right now. I have to think about this. Like, I either have to acknowledge that the truth that I know is not necessarily the truth, and I have to be open. I have to be open to, again, acknowledging what I just saw and then asking some questions and going down this exploratory process, figure out how to get better. Or I can step back into my level of comfort, which is what that box is, and decide to just keep doing that, and worse, re-delivering that in the exact same way I was re-delivering it before. And this comes the next piece, which is, if I'm that guy and I look at you guys as the guy that just destroyed my world, that might not be received too well. Right. And so I wonder, this is the question in this, is like, how are you guys being received by the larger space? And what's your perception of that?
So, that's how all this got started.
I can imagine. That's what I want to hear about.
So like, me and Ben, we've been friends, I don't know, like since over 10 years now, right? And we started so we found each other online on Facebook, right? And we were both kind of talking about this idea of what it looks like to fight somebody while armed with a pistol. And Ben was already doing work for, he already had like a decade under his belt. I was like a purple belt at the time, just got my concealed carry permit. And then we find Cliff Byerly, and we're just kind of like all just, it was a emperor has no clothes kind of moment. Once like we were very vocal and very aggressive.
Not well received.
Yeah.
Not well received.
And
that's what I was. That's the question I was asking.
And we didn't care. Like we were. Because we were right. It's like, why are you guys booing us? We're right. So
you're rocking the boat.
And I think the other part of that too is if I'm wrong, show me.
Right.
I'll listen. Yeah, but I'm going to piss you off until you show me I'm wrong or you shut up.
Right. And that was what happened for a long time. And then it just snowballed and just became just attracting more guys like Craig Douglas, and then Cecil Burch and Paul Sharp, and then like kind of some up and coming guys. And you have like Cole Miller comes in, and then Mikey, he gets involved, and all this thing like it's I wanted, when I came into training, I wanted to become John Wick. I wanted to know how to fight. I wanted to know how to shoot. I wanted to know how to strike. I wanted to be durable and everything like that.
I think most dudes, like real dudes, they all want that too, man. Like at some level, right?
Right. And if like anybody killed my dog, I want to be able to go on a killing spree and everybody be cool with that, right? But what happened was ended up becoming Winston, right? And ended up running the Continental and just the places where all the world's greatest assassins gather. And, you know, the Continental, it'd be that kind of idea as far as like having a platform and all that. It's, I'm happy that I can do that. It's really, it's not even that I did it. It's more like it's a real group effort. Everybody is like, they're asking me to handle this one piece and they come in and they can do what they do best in front of an audience. That's such an incredible thing, service I think I could do. I think I can fill that gap. I mean, I haven't had an original thought as far as martial arts goes or fitness or shooting or anything like that. I continue to develop and continue to practice. I mean, I was able to get those things that I wanted, but this idea of helping to produce an organization where people that were like me, looking for these answers, how do I defend myself? I mean, because I just took this 18-hour, 12-hour, whatever, 8-hour class that says that I can't just burn somebody down for slapping me. Or maybe I'm a cop and I've got to go and I've went through a whole lot of verbal judo training, but I don't got any real judo, right? You know,
there's no answer when that doesn't work.
Or I'm a military member and I've got to go into a building and they send me into a building instead of destroying it because everybody can't be shot. And all of a sudden, Old Man Jones starts fighting me. He grabs my gun. But I don't really want to cap him because now everybody's going to know, hey, man, you just cap Old Man Jones. You know, he just wanted to make sure that you ain't hurt his family or something like that. And so filling those gaps between the lethal and non-lethal, it's what we do is like we provide an ability to escalate and de-escalate force as needed. Like in the moment, we can respond to the situation. And one thing I'll say from just my limited experience in holding open enrollment courses is that students that are doing this and starting with this, they're so much better equipped to articulate why they took the actions they did. And that's so important because it's like we always think about winning the fight, but we hardly, and we talk about training a lot, especially on this show, but we don't really talk about the legal aftermath and just how like the law, especially if like you got a district attorney who's got a hard on for gun owners, like what you got to do, like the legal system is just an unrelenting beast.
Bro, I'm from California.
You know, right. So, I'm from New York, so we're opposite sides, same problem. And so yeah, it's an incredible event, and I'm just so excited for this weekend because like I'm going to be here and I still feel like I'm going to get FOMO even being here from like missing this guy's class or seeing something Mikey says or something Ben says or Craig or whatever. So, and then just all the great people that are here. So